Earth and Life Science Experiment. Lesson 2, Earth Processes. Experiment 2, Chemical Weathering. The materials you'll need to do this experiment are 2 clear plastic cups, 2 pieces of chalk, water, and vinegar. Step 1 is to put 1 chalk on each of the 2 plastic cups. Step 2 is to fill 1 cup with water and the other cup with vinegar. Step 3 is to observe. What have you observed when you poured the water in the plastic cup?
When I poured the water into the plastic cup at first, when I'm still pouring the water into the cup, the chalk started to float along with the water, so I thought it was going to float. But after a few seconds of filling the cup with water, it stayed at the bottom.
What have you observed when you poured the vinegar in the plastic cup?
When I poured the vinegar into the plastic cup at first, when I am still pouring the water into the cup, the chalk immediately started to float, but after a few seconds, when I moved the cup closer to the camera, it started to sink at the bottom. The texture of both cups are still the same and it hasn't changed yet, but it's probably because it's just been in there for a few minutes.
Step 4. Leave both cups in a safe place for 1 night. Step 5. Get the chalks out of the plastic cups. Step 6. Scrape off the outer layer of the chalk. Step 7. Observe it again. What did you observe when you took both of the chalks out of the water and vinegar and scraped its outer layer?
At first, when I took the chalk out of the water, its texture was quite sticky and its appearance was different. It was a lot thinner than before. And its outer layer part was peeling off, and those particles that peeled off was floating in the water. And also, when I took it out of the water, its particles stained my hands a lot, and when I scraped its outer layer, it easily came off and it stained my hands even more. And then I also tried to press it gently, but when I did, it easily broke and it was very fragile. As for the chalk and the vinegar, when I took it out, I was surprised as it was not as sticky as the chalk in the water, although its appearance was quite the same as before, but it was a lot smaller. It still has parts of its outer layer peeled off, and when I scraped its outer layer, it was harder to scrape. I also tried to press it gently, but was still strong, so I had to press it harder for it to break.
How was chemical weathering observed in the experiment that you did?
Chemical weathering changes the chemical compositions of the rocks, which then leads to their breakdown. Water is an agent for chemical weathering, so it is the reason why the chalk in the water was more abraded, scraped, and fragile. The chalk breaks the water when you leave it for a long time because the water dissolves the minerals in the chalk, like it does to the minerals in rocks, which will then lead to the breakdown or changes in appearance, texture, and shape.
What are the differences observed in the 2 chalks?
After that, I compared the 2 chalks, and the chalk in the water was thinner and more different in appearance and texture. It was also more fragile. The chalk in the vinegar was still quite the same, but was a little bit smaller and fragile than before.
What is the explanation behind the difference of results that was observed?
It shows and explains that the water really is an important agent for chemical weathering, as it does what it needs to do with the rocks, for the rock cycle to continue as time passes. With this, weathering and erosion will slowly but surely continue to help our environment by constantly changing and polishing the rocky landscapes of the Earth, helping the Earth evolve and improve to become a better and a safer planet for us to live in.
Thank you so much for watching!